Welcome again, listeners, to Health History Horses. This is our 8th episode, I believe. We are live again at the beautiful and historic Canfield Casino. In fact, we are actually in the historic hotels room, which is mimicking the grand hotels of the Grand Age of Saratoga in the 1800s. I'm Dr. Christine Alexander Decker, and with me again is Charlie Kuenzel and Karen Verrigni. Welcome, both of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And you know, over the span that you and I have done these in all different forms, we've had a lot of different guests, etc. Obviously, for those of you that have been watching for a while, you know that we're missing Brian Bouye, who's from the Racing Museum. It's a very tough season. We're shooting this right now in July, and the pace is fast, not on the track, but also for Brian. So as a result, Brian couldn't be with us. But Karen and I are going to do a section tonight, which we're very excited about, which is on how to be a tour guide in your own city. So.
Great. So I usually start off the health history horses with something health related, and we are knee deep into the dog days of summer, or better yet, the horse days of summer here in Saratoga Springs. The long days, the warm weather, and people head to the woods, to the lakes, to the shore. And all those are very fun, but they bring unique health and safety concerns. And so today, my health snippet is actually summer safety tips. And we're going to talk specifically about heat safety, bike safety, and water safety. If you remember, I've done safety snippets before. We've talked about sun and skin in the past. We've talked about spring allergies. And most recently, I did tick-borne illnesses. Yeah. So once again, I'm going out of my very comfortable endocrinology bubble and talking about health and safety. Let me start with heat safety. And the human body is designed to take a great deal of heat exposure until it can't, and then things start to break down. In fact, there was a statistic in 2019. I couldn't find a statistic any earlier than that, or younger than that, I should say. But okay. In 2019, there were 884 deaths and over 2,000 injuries from heat-related incidences.
And that was in the United States?
In the United States alone. The people that are most at risk, as you can imagine, are those that work out in the heat. And don't you want to pass a water bottle out your car window when it's 90 degrees and you're in your car and you know it's even hotter than on the tarmac there? So the people that work in the heat, the young and the old, so infants and children, and then adults above 65, individuals with chronic health conditions that may not tolerate the heat, and actually overweight individuals. And they're at the greatest risk for heat-related injuries. So what do you do if you're going to be exposed to heat? And you know, if you have to work out in those conditions, we hope that you're able to take frequent breaks, that it's recognized that this is dangerous. And you want to be able to get cool and wet, or drink lots of water. And really, water is the only thing you need. We talk about adding electrolytes and sugar, but water replaces the hydration. You don't really need to replace the salt. You can add electrolytes, but I'm going to tell you right now, the sugary sports drinks, not a fan. That's all they are, loaded with sugar. So it's scary for me, really, to talk about this. When I was researching, I'm like, I don't really want to think about this. But heat exhaustion goes into heat stroke, which is a medical emergency and can be fatal. Best ways to cool off, again, are to get into air conditioning. And here's my fascinating.
Your fascinating idea here.
That's to come. But my historical piece, Charlie, do you know the first air-conditioned building in Saratoga Springs?
Oh, Christy, probably you should enlighten me on that, because
guess what?
I've got an idea, but
it is the Canfield Casino.
Yes, and who paid for that? Okay.
The Canfield Casino, believe it or not,
yes,
was the first air-conditioned building in Saratoga Springs. Back in 1902/1903, Canfield was adding the large dining room with the stained glass windows on, and a very rudimentary form of air conditioning. So,
do you know the system?
No.
Side basement windows were big enough to slide big blocks of ice in, and there was a squirrel cage that just blew the cool air up from it.
Rudimentary, but functional.
There you go.
Yep.
That's great.
So air conditioning is an amazing marvel of technology, as we know. So drink lots of fluids. And if you've recognized thirst, you're already behind. So you drink before you get thirsty. If you know you're going to be outside, avoid alcohol, because when you're out in the heat and you have a buzz on, you're probably not going to recognize a heat-related injury. And so we say also do the buddy system, so you're making sure everybody's drinking
So
properly.
everybody should drink together, is that?
That's right, the buddy system together.
All right, just checking, clarification. I'm always good on that.
And I have to mention, and we talk about this with a little bit of trepidation, but hot cars, children in hot cars, pets in hot cars. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day, there's a U.S. statistic that says 3 children die every week from being left in a hot car, and your heart sinks when you hear these statistics. And the statistics are probably not as firm on pets, but even with the windows cracked, we know how hot it gets in those cars. So don't bring them along. Leave them where it's nice and shady and cool. All right. So drink lots of water, stay in the air conditioning, and come to the Canfield Casino to see the exhibits because it's air conditioned.
Now, that's a heck of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you worked that one in.
Now I'm going to go on to bicycle safety.
Oh, good.
Near and dear to my heart, where history is nearer and dear to your heart. But there are 80 million bicyclists out there, and we have to be responsible when we're riding. So first, for the cyclists, the piece of equipment that you need for the most safety is a helmet. You wear a helmet, and wear a helmet. You get one chance to protect your melon, and the helmet could be it. It needs to be a proper fitting helmet. New York State has laws that mandate helmets, and children under 14 on a bicycle, whether you're maneuvering it yourself or riding it, should be wearing a helmet. There are fines for this too, and I don't know how much that is, but wear a helmet. Opinion only. There was a pause there. But opinion only. I think that every open-aired, 2-wheeled, 3-wheeled, or 4-wheeled contraption should have a helmet. Every person in those should have a helmet, whether it's motorized or non-motorized, pedal power, skateboard, roller skates, whatever. Protect your melon. You get one chance. This is not a fashion accessory. This is a fashion accessory. This is not. So a proper fitting helmet doesn't move. It's not tipped backwards. It's covering your forehead. The chin strap is snug underneath your chin. You watch these kids on their skateboards or on their bicycles and the helmet's sitting back here. That is not going to be effective. So helmet, helmet, helmet. Other pieces of equipment for our bikers are lights. Have a light on even during the day, because a gazed over motorist may recognize a red light flashing, but they don't even know it's you on a bike. So a front light and a back light, very inexpensive pieces of safety equipment. Wearing bright clothing, and especially if you're riding even remotely at dusk, some reflection, so the lights of the cars, reflect right off of that and you can be seen. I ride. I love to ride. I have a road bike. I have a helmet that has actually a rear view mirror, because you're constantly wondering what's behind you. Texting and driving lately is like the cyclist's nightmare. You don't want to keep having to turn around, so that's another inexpensive piece of safety equipment. But follow the rules of the road. Be a responsible cyclist, just like drivers of cars should be responsible. Right? My last piece of safety advice has to do with water. And isn't it recently that we've heard so many news stories of drowning episodes with both children and adults? And I feel like there's ways that we can prevent those stories from happening. People are heading to all kinds of bodies of water now with nice weather, whether it's the stream or the lake or the beach or the shore. But you need to have some common sense. So first thing, the number one rule in swimming is never swim alone. So you always want to have someone with you, especially if you're in open water. And as I was doing my research, there was pool safety, there was boating safety, there was shore safety. And the shore safety, you always hear about a rip current and the warnings of rip currents, and you're not supposed to swim straight back to shore with a rip current. You're supposed to swim parallel to shore until you get out of the rip current, and then you can swim towards shore. I wondered if I would panic first and then remember that piece of advice and swim parallel to shore. But in boating, the most important piece of safety equipment is actually a life jacket, a proper fitting personal flotation device. New York state law, again, mandates that in a boat less than 65 feet, children under 12, when it is on motor, have to be wearing a life jacket. And boaters who are experienced know that there should be a life jacket for every single person on the boat. Now, again, if you're older, you're probably not wearing them when the boat is under motor, but there should be one there for you if you need it. So, if you find yourself in the water, all right, and there's a beautiful YouTube video from, I think it's like no more than, the National Oceanic Association, but it's a short, 7-minute video that talks about when someone is in water. So the first thing is to stay calm. The first thing you want to do is panic because you're not in the vessel that you thought you were in, but you need to stay calm and don't stop breathing. The body, actually the human body, has a natural way it's going to float. It's meant to float, believe it or not. Even if you're, big, small, innately your body is going to float. So don't panic. Don't stop breathing. You want to keep air in your lungs, and you don't want to start hyperventilating, but slow, calm breaths. The best way, if you're tiring, so now you're in the water and you don't know what to do. You go onto your back. You float right onto your back. You will be buoyant on your back as long as you maintain a horizontal stance. So you want to keep your hips up and your legs up. The water should actually cover your ears. I know that's going to sound weird and you won't hear anything, but the water will cover your ears and your face and your nose will be out of the water. You can tread water. Do not, there goes my fascinator. Do not flail, because actually raising your arms makes you want to sink. So if you're going to tread water, you're treading underneath the surface of the water, not over the surface of the water. And the most effective way to not tire is to make circles. So you're circling your legs and circling your arms. And then you can go to your back and float on your back and maintain that position until someone can help you. So, summer, health, safety, water, let's be responsible. Biking, let's be responsible. And sun, let's enjoy it, but let's stay out of being sick.
Well, Christine, that was pretty good.
Thanks.
You got us back on track with all that for the summer. Well, we're going to kind of piggyback on the fact that summer is so much fun, especially if you live in Saratoga or come to visit, that there's just too many things to do. In fact, there's so many things to do in one day that you really should seek some help. So, as I said earlier, my guest today is Karen Verrigni, who's the director of the Visitor Center. And if there's anybody that can give you a clear idea of what to do in Saratoga Springs, and really 365, but especially in the summer when things are really going, it's Karen. So Karen and I, as president here at the museum, and Karen as director, we've done a lot of things back and forth. And I know how wonderful her programs are. So I'm going to turn things over to her and let her start to tell us what you do over there, Karen.
That's great. Thank you, Charlie. So, yeah, it's a great place. Come and visit us. In fact, we're right across the street from the History Museum and the Canfield Casino. We're at 297 Broadway, right on the corner of Broadway and Congress Street. And a lot of our programs actually come over into Congress Park. So this is kind of like my second home over here. And it's a fun place to visit, a little something for everyone, visitors and residents alike. As Charlie said, there's a lot of things to do in Saratoga, especially in the summer, but even year-round. It's become a year-round destination. And if you live in Saratoga, you know that you get lots and lots of company And there's always something that you'd like to do to keep your company busy and have fun with them. So we can certainly help with that. We've got lots of ideas, lots of maps and brochures and pamphlets and programs to share with you. And do you want me to talk about that now, or you want me?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that when we collaborate on things and I walk in, I'm always blown away by the thousands of cards and informational packets that are there. So yeah, Karen, what kind of things are the highlights that you have?
Well, I think everyone should walk out of the visitor center with a destination guide. It's our Discover Saratoga destination guide. It's really kind of one-stop shopping for everyone. It has a little of everything. It's got dining, it's got attractions, it's got places to stay, things to do, things to see, family activities, you name it, it's in one guide. So that would be my first recommendation as a go-to publication. Again, it's the Discover Saratoga Destination Guide, available at the Visitor Center. So starting with that. After that, there's, as Charlie said, numerous maps and brochures and other publications available to you. Everything is free, which is wonderful. And to make matters even better, we have a great roster of really dedicated, really enthusiastic, wonderful volunteers who are very knowledgeable and love to share their knowledge with anybody who stops by.
That's right.
And my staff is pretty amazing. They love to do the same thing. So lots of expert help when you walk through the door, and a lot of personalized attention. So it's a must-see.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Sure.
One-stop shopping.
Is it open 7 days a week?
So good question, Christine. It's we are open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And right now we're in high season, of course. So we have numerous programs that are running. One of the things that you may know about, just from being in the area, we produce the concert series program, which are the concerts in Congress Park. So that's already started for the season. The first one was July 10th. We had another one this past Sunday, and we've got the rest of the Sundays in July. And then in August, it switches over to Tuesday evenings. So that information is available, of course, online and at the Visitor Center. It's a wonderful, wonderful family activity, local artists, and quite a wide variety of genres to enjoy.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's one thing we do. We just kicked off today our dry run of our guided trolley tour program, which is a wonderful thing to do, especially if you're new to Saratoga, you're visiting for the first time, or again, if you live here and you have visitors, relatives and family and friends who are coming to stay with you. It's a wonderful introduction to the city. It's a 90-minute tour, $25 per person, leaves from the Visitor Center at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and ends up back at the Visitor Center at the end of the tour. And as I said, we just did it today, and it was fabulous. A really great overview of the city, the entire city. Includes a lot of different things.
I can attest to that because I had the convenience, the honor to be part of the inaugural run. And I got to say, having run a business with Mr. Patterson for a number of years, this was done very well. And it's just a wonderful thing to add to what you can do with tourists. So thanks for having me. And yeah, it's a good product, Karen. It's a real good product. So
we're excited about it. We're very excited to bring it back. It's something that we started in 2017. Took a little break because of the pandemic, like most everything else did, but we're back and offering these in-person guided tours again, and can't tell you how excited we are to just welcome everybody on board.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, and then in addition to that, we have a lot of other tour information available at the Visitor Center. Lots and lots of different types of tours. There's tours that are on trains, on boats. We have some pretty spectacular self-guided walking tour brochures, which are really nice because you can kind of go at your own pace, do as little or as much as you'd like to do. One of them is through Congress Park. There's some great history to learn inside Congress Park. And then in addition to that, we have some self-guided walking tour brochures that will take you through some of the neighborhoods in Saratoga, North Broadway and the West Side and the East Side. And all of those tell a wonderful story about Saratoga. In addition to, you can learn about some pretty fantastic architecture in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, I have to say, our business here at the History Museum is history, but it's to tell the story of the city. And there's just a variety of ways to do it. And I'm always amazed when we collaborate on different projects, the kind of things, the assets that the Visitor Center has. So again, when you got visitors, come see Karen and her staff. It's a good place. So.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
And don't forget the History Museum.
Well, yeah, I'd like to talk about that, but I also just want to talk about a project that the Visitor Center and the History Museum put together. This was a project we did originally probably 10, 12 years ago. It was a scavenger hunt. Now here's something, you can do this with your families, you can do this with visitors from out of town. I think it's great. Karen and I worked on this together. It's a scavenger hunt of Saratoga Springs history, and it's predicated on using the 10 kiosks that are up and down Broadway. There was a large grant that the city received, actually it was a special assessment district years ago, and we sat down and mapped out where there would be helpful kiosks in order to guide guests who are here, especially in the summer. So on one side, you've probably seen it if you walk Broadway. One side is a guide to the businesses, and where are you and what's available. And on the other side, I had the luxury of being able to supply the history for it. So by going up and down Broadway, starting either at the Visitor Center or the Canfield Casino here at the History Museum, you can get a copy of the Scavenger Hunt, and then go up and down and using the information that's already on those kiosks, your family, especially your kids, could answer lots of questions. And then, of course, you're going to make the turn and come right back down the east side of Broadway. So that you're going to do the grand tour, and you're going to end up finishing pretty close to where you started, either at the Visitor Center or the History Museum. In which case, if you'd like to play the game with us, you can bring it in, and one of our volunteers will help you correct it. And if you get a sufficient number correct, you get a lovely prize package, because we've got some very generous merchants in town. They're going to give you free passes and percent off things for shopping there and stuff like that. So there's a little hook there, a little something to get at the end. But I think it's a lot of fun, and I know have had 3 kids at different ages and stuff, I think it'd be something you'd like. So go see Karen for a scavenger hunt, or come see us here at the History Museum. So it's going to be a fun time. So now, also, I gotta be on top of this, otherwise I won't be president long. We're in the height of ghost tours here, and if you want to come to a wonderful spot for paranormal activity, drop by and see us. I mean, we're kind of scary ourselves, but our story itself is pretty good too. And if you give us just a few minutes, we can put you on a guided tour Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. We usually go about an hour and a half, depending on things. There's not a hard and fast rule. If people have more questions, sometimes they'll stay a lot longer, but it's all 3 floors, and we'll be able to tell you why we're ranked number 4 by Travel Magazine in the top 10 most paranormal spots in the United States.
In the United States?
In the United States, yes.
Not just New York State?
Not New York State, Christy. In the United States. In the United States.
I said I don't do ghosts. I don't do snakes.
Yeah,
So
but
here
you'd
we are
love to
sitting in
come.
the number 4 spookiest place in the U.S.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we got Caspers that live with us.
Yes, you
They're all
said that.
friendlies, so we have a lot of fun, a lot of good stories. And the nice thing is, to tell you the truth, they're all things that have happened to us.
So the ghost tour is of the Canfield Casino and the museum. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Because the October ghost tours are a little bit different, aren't you?
Well, the ones that we offer,
Yes.
if we stay, is a very full embellishment on everything that's happened to
Okay.
us. And then we bring in, and some of you might want to do this, ghost hunters, back about 12 years ago, did an investigation here. And for those of you with a little computer savvy, you can go and find a YouTube video of Ghost Hunters Sci-Fi Channel, episode 618. 618. 6th season, 18th episode. And if you zero in on that, you'll see exactly some of the stories that we have here. But we're not going to tell you those because
No.
we've always recycled those, Christine. See, we're already into the new stuff.
New ghost
yeah,
stories,
so-
great. Yeah.
So when you come here with us at 11 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, what you're going to find is all the new stuff. So yeah, we're up and running.
Tell me a little bit about the building that the visitor center is a very unique structure.
Yes, thank you. It's a story we love to tell. Everyone at the visitor center, the volunteers, the staff, and many visitors who walk through the door fall in love with our building. It's a pretty spectacular place. It's a trolley. It was built as a trolley station in 1915. And it remained as a trolley station until about 1941, when the state bought the building and turned it into what was called a drink hall, meaning the therapeutic mineral waters of Saratoga Springs. So people were able to walk through the door of the drink hall and for a small fee, purchase a bottle of 3 different mineral waters or a spring water and sit at a table and socialize with each other. And it was the thing to do. People really believed in the therapeutic qualities of the mineral waters. Some people still do believe that today. And I'm always pleased when people walk through the doors of the visitor center and the first question they ask about is they want to taste the waters. And that makes me very happy. And we have brochures about it, stories about it. It's a big part of our history. It's in our name. So it remained a drink hall until, I don't know, the 60s or so. And then it's been a visitor center for about 30 years. So the programs that I was mentioning, the concert series program, the Congress Park History walking tours, the Brown Bag Lunch program, which I didn't mention, but those are all programs that started 30 years ago and they're still going strong.
And Discover Saratoga does so much to support the city and stuff
yes.
like that. So, yeah, no, the Convention Tourism Bureau, Discover Saratoga, which obviously Karen works for. I mean, I had the pleasure for 20 years of doing a lot of business with them. You guys always do it right, so.
It's a great team. I'm very blessed to be part of the organization and wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
Good.
Yeah.
That's real good. So,
Charlie, will you give us a little horse racing snippet at the end here?
sure. I mean, obviously we're missing Brian. And Brian always does a much better job than any of us. But, you know, we're knee deep right now. Started the system. The track is wide open and there's been some pretty good racing. Obviously it's dark Monday and Tuesday, but look at the races we've got coming up. It's still early. We had the Diana Handicap last Saturday, set the track record. Chad Brown had a horse. It's a turf race for 3-year-old fillies, etc., and set a course record. So already things are starting to happen in a big way for people that like racing. But I mean, we've got on the horizon the Jim Dandy, which is usually the prep for the big feature race, the Summer Derby, the Travers. We should draw well with entries for that. We've got the Whitney, which is also a great race. Whitney family's been in racing here since about 1901. So their presence and stuff in Saratoga is phenomenal. And then we're going to look forward to the Alabama, which is for fillies. And then we're going to wrap it up on the 27th of August with the real crown jewel of the summer for us, which is the Run Happy Travers, which is going to be at a $1.25 million purse this year. And then we'll end it out with, remember, we're the home of most 2-year-olds. Most trainers send a lot of 2-year-olds here. So we're going to have the hopeful and the spin away before we exit, and everybody goes around. Best racing, best jockey colony, best trainers in the country right now for the next 36 days. So it's good stuff. Take advantage of it, and it's always good. But next time, you won't have to listen to me tell you that. Brian will tell you all that. So he'll have the synopsis on things. So
We'll
hopefully
have
that
the
helps.
recap of the racing season.
That's right. So good. Anything else on wrap-up time?
Nope, be safe out there. It's summer. Enjoy Saratoga Springs. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Charlie. It's a wrap. We'll see you soon.
Okay, HHH.